Welcome back to our family's boat shop, everyone. My name's Joe Buskins. I'm a second generation U.S. Coast Guard licensed professional boat builder, and I hold a 100-ton captain's license that we use all through the summer months to operate our custom built 29-footer there that we built here in our family shop. So we've got a whole bunch of really great DIY fiberglass gel coat epoxy videos going on here lately. And we actually just did a little video. We got a mock-up transom piece and we mixed up some what I call peanut butter. So it's going to be a thickened epoxy mix to simulate bonding a piece of core or transom material on. But we've got some really cool homemade shop apparatus there. These are our transom clamps that we use here in the shop. So what I'm going to do, we've actually got some curing epoxy there, and it's going to be moving right along. So I want to go ahead and clamp it. I'm going to show you guys how we clamp down, and then I want to show you guys our selection of clamps we use and how we made them. So imagine this would be the inside of the boat, this would be the outside of the boat. Generally, the way we have these designed is we have the bolts or fasteners would be directed towards the inside of the boat. Now bear in mind, folks, we have already put some epoxy peanut butter on this piece of wood, and that is in the previous video for you guys. I hope that's helpful. And we're responding to comments that you guys have made as far as what you would like to see. We appreciate all your comments, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. Very cool to see the channel's growth so far. And I am listening to you guys. When you guys comment, I see all the comments and we do our very best. All right, so here we go. We are starting to clamp. And what I'm doing is I'm just moving, let's see, let's change angle a little bit and maybe we can see some squeeze out happening as we run these bolts in. It's interesting. Right in this gap here, sometimes one bolt will get tight and then another one will get, here we go. We're starting to see some squeeze out on these edges. We're gonna run them in just a bit right over here. Come over here, check this out. These are the little vent holes that we drilled at a 45-degree angle, and you can actually see the peanut butter starting to work its way out. That is how we know we have good uniform clamping pressure on something like this. Now sometimes what we will do, you can see we've got some squeeze out happening right there. Maybe a little, yeah, it's starting to, right down at the very bottom. A little bit of clamping pressure. Now, the way we design these, I'm sure that if you put too much clamping pressure on them, you could actually break this part. But you don't want to put a tremendous amount of pressure. And a lot of times you want to put some pressure on the part. Matter of fact, you can see we're getting more and more squeeze out as we just stand here and talk about it, which is kind of neat to see. Now, when we built our 29, we used Coosa instead of marine plywood, but it'll work in either application. And obviously we just got one of our smaller clamps here, but we've got a selection of them because most boats that we work on have a V-shaped bottom. You're going to need one that's going to be larger than the others for the middle. And this one, for our particular boat, we've got about 3 feet of depth there. And we've got about 6 inches of width, and then we've got about 7 inches of material, and we've got about 13 inches of material on top. Now, something that I have found that's very important that may seem like a minor thing is rather than cutting a hard, sharp corner at the top, you're going to have more strength if you cut a radius or a radii in that, and that is actually exactly the same size as a catalyst jug. And all we used was just birch plywood, any good solid 3/4 inch marine plywood would work. And obviously we've just got some 2x4s here. Now we've got a series of bolts. I believe these are either 3/8 or 5/16. But what you would do is you would bore a hole all the way through the 2x4 that is going to be at least 1 or 2 sizes bigger than the actual bolt. So if you're using a 5/16 bolt, you'd want to drill a 3/8 diameter hole through the middle of it. And then what we're using is a little specialty fastener called a T-nut. And it's threaded inside just like a nut would be, but it's got these really sharp little prongs. And basically it is designed, I would recommend putting it on the inside. That way as you tighten it, it's pulling that into the wood. And we've got a whole series of these bolts, and you can see we've slightly staggered them or offset them. So that is a fairly simple way. Now I'm not saying that's the only way or the best way, but it's our family's way and it's worked. And that's what we did again when we were building our big 29-footer. Now as we move over here, you can see that obviously this one's a little smaller, but I'll give you guys just the dimensions just so you have a ballpark. 32 inches is the depth on that one. A little thinner on the material, right at 5 inches. And then we've got right at say 7 1/4 inches of material there on top. And then we have 2 of the smaller ones. Same deal here. We're looking at about 24 inches if I'm not mistaken. Yes, about 24 inches or so. And generally, like I said, you're gonna need 5 of these in my opinion to do a good job. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you have a different way of doing this or some suggestions, or if you like what you're seeing. Again, the YouTube algorithm really loves you guys watching these videos through and through. They really like to see the comments and the shares, the thumbs up, and subscribing to the channel is super, super helpful. So we are moving back here. You can see at this point, we've got some good epoxy squeeze out of our peanut butter. And we would just generally leave that overnight till that epoxy has set. And I guarantee you guys that is gonna create a rock solid bond between your core material and your transom. So I believe that's gonna be it for this episode. We're trying to do a little bit shorter episodes, but we have a ton of very long, very detailed boat builder grade, high quality videos you guys can reference back. And again, I read every comment and I respond to them. So if I see a request come up enough, I will do the video for you guys. It's Captain Joe here with Island Marine Charters, Fish Bump TV here on YouTube, my fantastic cameraman there behind the scenes. And as always, we will catch you guys next time.